The following program contains immature adults using mature language. If you can't handle that, then go f*** your...
Are you Dallas?
No, so yeah, sorry, I should mention that before we get started. So like that's like the one rule is don't call me Dallas, but if you do, that's fine because I have a bunch of sound bites that can correct you passive aggressively.
Did I call you Chuck?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's preferred because if you don't call me Chuck, I'll hit you with like
Pucker up, Chuck.
Hi, my name's Chuck.
Sway, just move.
All right.
Sway, just move. Sway, just move with me, darling.
Chuck.
Sway, just move with me, darling.
Chuck.
Sway, just move with me, darling.
Whoa, you gotta calm down there, Chuck.
You got the answer, Sway. You got the answer.
Chuck.
You got the answer, Sway. You got the answer.
But I'm here today with Rilee L.
Oh, okay.
I said your last name right?
Rilee L.
L.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
How many times have people gotten it right? Because I know like the first question would be a bad one of how many times would people mess up your last name, but I think the better question is how many times have people gotten it right, like off the get-go.
I think like the percentage of like people getting it right the first time would be like maybe 5%.
Really?
Yeah. It's rarely that it ever happens, and even from like Asian people that know the pronunciation, they still don't pronounce it right.
Well, it is such a long name too.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like the short attention span that people have. They just look at it and they're like, get through the first couple letters and be like,
It's after like the first half they just give up. And actually, like to be honest, I didn't know how to pronounce it until the third grade, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't pronounce it correctly at all until the third grade. It just snapped at me.
You just knew yourself as Rilee L.
Yeah, that really it. And I think I pronounced it like I didn't pronounce it correctly. That's all I know. But like after the third grade, I started pronouncing it correctly, and I just didn't really care. But
Did you like you're never just like to your parents like, how do we say our last name?
no, to be honest, I thought that my last name was pretty common for Asian people until I saw other Asian people's last names. Like, oh man, I'm the weird one.
Yeah, far away from like the two-letter words like woo or
yeah. And then my middle name, I'm not gonna say what it is, but my middle name's super American. But I play it off as it being super Asian, so then I can still go along with the role. Like, oh man, this guy's last name is Luan Pakdi. I wonder what his middle name is.
Yeah, then just like, well, it's actually 3 times longer than my last name.
Yeah.
So it's not even worth, you can't even know about it.
Yeah, and instead it's just like it's based off of a pro wrestler.
That's what your middle name came from?
Yeah.
Is your parents like the pro wrestler?
My mom.
Really?
And my middle name was because you know what my middle name is.
I've
right?
heard it before. I can't think of the top of my head. If you don't want to tell me like on air, that's fine. But I have heard it before. I know it is American.
Yeah,
for sure.
And my mom, when she told me, because I asked her, pretty sure like late in my life, I was like, "Hey, why is my middle name A?" and she's like, "Oh, you don't know?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." And then she's like, "Oh, it's just I based off of of this pro wrestler." I'm like, "Are you serious?" And she's like, "Yeah, I actually wanted to name you that name, but your dad didn't want to, so that's why you're Rilee now." And I'm thinking in my head like, "Thank you so much, Dad," because instead I would have gotten a first name that's based off this pro wrestler that I don't watch that much anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you watch the WWE a lot?
Yeah.
When you were a kid?
When I was growing up, we watched it so much to the point where I was the only one that thought that was real. Like,
okay.
I actually, and this is like for real, I didn't know that was fake until like 4 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was all real. And so when I found out, I was actually pretty heartbroken because
Yeah.
that was my childhood, and I thought that it was so hyped up because it's real.
Yeah.
And when I found out that it wasn't real, I just kind of just blew my mind.
It's right up there with me when I found out as like Santa Claus, when you find out Santa Claus isn't real.
Yeah.
It's the same thing of when you find out WWE is fake. Because I was a huge fan in like the days of like Batista had just left. And so the big names were John Cena, and he's still killing it.
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio, I was a huge Rey Mysterio fan. And then who else? Like the Great Khali, the Boogeyman, like
Yeah.
the era of those ones. And so that's when I got into it. And like
a bunch of friends who didn't know, like didn't respect it. They're like, it's fake, right? Like it's a stupid hobby to have. And my dad even like tried to like set me down gently. He's like, hey, like I know you just ordered, because I still have it, the heavyweight championship of the world, the SmackDown belt.
Oh yeah,
the big gold one, not the spinner one.
Right. Yeah.
I still have it, and it has Rey Mysterio, and the namesake, because of when he won it. And so like I just ordered that from eBay, and my dad's like, hey, like trying to set me down gently. He's like, you know that this is fake, right? And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, it's not actually real. And it was like when I was watching it, I'm like, are you seeing what I'm seeing right now? Like this is real. Like look at this guy jumping from the top rope. Yeah. You're gonna lie to me? You're a liar. So it started like that, and then it evolved into, well, I know it's fake, but it's really entertaining. And then it went to kind of like betrayed by it. I'm like, fuck, it is fake. Well, okay, now I'm just done watching.
That's what like while you're watching, he just break it to you right there. This is cool, but how did you find out that Santa Claus wasn't real?
Nonchalantly through my grandmother.
She just threw it out there, just bombed it?
Yeah, I was like 10 years old or something, and I was like, hey, Grandma, Santa isn't real, is he? She's like, nope. Don't tell your brother or your cousin, but no. And I'm like,
so you're already on the premonition that he wasn't real.
Yeah, because I picked up what gave it away for me. I don't know for you, but what gave it away for me was the font of who the present was to and who it was from. So when I picked up a present and it said to Chuck, it didn't actually say that.
Yeah.
It said to Chuck from Mom. And then the other one said to Chuck from Santa, and it was the same handwriting. I'm like,
oh, really?
Something's fucking up with this. Like, there's no way that Santa can have the same penmanship as my mom. So how did you find out?
It was specifically my mom, but she's always so like attentive to detail. So in that case, she actually made the font seem different. So like she would only write in cursive.
She knows what's up
for Santa, yeah. And I was never the kid that like tried to look for presents or tried to like figure out, oh, is this really Santa or someone else? I was super gullible. I was actually the way that it broke to me was in 5th grade. We were having like a discussion in class, and I don't know how it came to Santa Claus, and it came so fast I couldn't even cover my ears. But one moment we were like talking about something, I don't even know if it was Christmas, and the next one like my teacher's like, oh, by the way, you guys know that Santa's not real, right? And
your
everyone's
teacher
like,
said it?
Yeah, and everyone's like, yeah, and I was looking around like, what?
Oh.
I was the only one that was like kind of looking around like he was shocked. Everyone else was like, yeah, we know that Santa's not real. And I was the only one sitting there. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Dude, there's a code of conduct with teachers of what they can and can't do. And that should be right up there with what they can't do. Because you get a bunch of little kids that you don't know what their home lives are individually. Like, you could believe in Santa up until you could be 18 years old, graduating high school, be like, yeah, Santa's still real. Fuck you. Like,
and don't get me wrong, I love this teacher, but like after that day, I came home. I still remember just how dreadful I was. I was like at home thinking back to all the different Santa Claus presents I had. And like, man,
how much of a lie they were.
Yeah, and like to be morbid, it actually makes sense. Like, man, this Pokemon game that I got, I wonder like if it was actually from Santa, he would have like a custom wrapped like gift, but instead it still had the Fred Meyer tag on it.
So your mom was attentive to details to a certain extent.
But like you could see where the Fred Meyer tag was, and she ripped it off. Because I was gullible, but I was still like attentive to detail to that end.
When you found out, was it in season or was it just like a random time of the year?
I think it was out of season. It might have been a little bit past Christmas, but either way, like the next year that came, I still wanted to believe in Santa, even though I was in middle school. Yeah. And I just couldn't because of what happened.
You just know that
And oh my God. And I think I still got a Santa Claus present that year because they didn't know that I didn't believe in Santa.
Did you open it?
I opened it.
You shouldn't have opened it just out of like protest. Like, fuck you, I know what this is about.
No, I still opened it. And I just like pretended to react like, oh wow, Santa Claus gave me this. And I think like after that year, they just stopped doing it. Like they didn't even tell me that Santa wasn't real. They just stopped doing it. So
they probably figured out from just like your body language and everything. Yeah. Like, oh fuck, he knows.
Yeah, but I feel like deep down, I feel like if I like still believed in Santa and they never told me, to this day, I might have still believed in Santa if it wasn't for like social media and all that.
Yeah, the one thing that's weird, Santa was I think the last domino to fall because the Easter Bunny, like quick off the bat, I'm like, okay, like, come on, because like I went to church a lot as a kid, so I knew the real reason of Easter, so I'm like, where the fuck does a bunny come in? Like I was in I went to a big church when I was a kid, and I was in the the Easter production, the big, huge play, you know, with hundreds of people, a part of the church. And so I'm like, yeah, this bunny thing doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
So that was like the first one. And then the second one was the tooth fairy. I can't remember how that bubble got burst, but it was something like,
Was it pretty early?
It was pretty early. And then, yeah, Santa was the last one to fall. So, yeah, now all of those mythical holiday.
Yeah, I think
all
the
silly.
tooth fairy for me was I think after 4th grade, but I still did it because I got money.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think like when did I lose like my last baby tooth? Because I think at that point it was like a little bit too old for it. But I'm like, yeah, but I mean, this was
a tooth. Yeah.
This was a source of income when I was younger. So can we
still-
somehow make this work?
I might be the only one, but I don't know what they do with the teeth. Like, do they just throw it away? Just I don't know.
That's a good question because I know some parents like keep the teeth.
Do they keep it?
My dad still has his wisdom teeth.
Really?
He got
Well,
them
I mean, that's a
removed.
wisdom teeth, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's a tooth. Like, it's just
Yeah.
a piece of bone. So I'm sure, I don't think that my parents kept my teeth. I hope not. That'd be weird.
Yeah. Just it'd smell. But I like my little brother. He lost his tooth the other day, and it came like the little treasure chest from school. And I don't know what
yeah.
my mom does with the teeth. I don't know if she throws it away or whatever.
I would hope that it gets tossed just for like health code reasons. Like,
But that brings on the question, like what parents do with those childhood myths. Because like now I've been at the stage where like I'm Santa Claus, or I help my mom being Santa Claus. So I'm like really into making it so then Zayden, my little brother, can still believe in Santa Claus whenever my mom's too busy to.
yeah, because how old is he?
He's 10 now, so
10,
he's at
okay.
the age where he should probably know that Santa Claus is not real. But
It's a touchy subject at that age, though.
Yeah,
Like,
I shouldn't be one to say that, but I'll always make sure that like he'll be in bed and he's asleep like an hour or 2 hours, and I'll start wrapping it, and then I don't know where to put it, so I leave it to my mom, the gift wrap, and I think she just buries it in her closet.
yeah.
But like she does this, like no matter how hard I try, I could see the difference in experience between my mom and me, because she'll like whatever like takes me so hard to do, she does it so perfectly. And she does this little thing with the ribbons where she uses like the scissors and like rubs the ribbon against the scissors and makes it all curly.
Oh,
And she
yeah,
does
I've
that.
seen that before.
Yeah, and I just think that's so amazing. And I like, even though I shouldn't, whenever she messes up on like the writing, I tell her, hey, you know that little bit right there, that doesn't look like Santa Claus. And she's like, you know what, shut up.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for like 10, 20 years more than you.
This year was the first year that I actually wrapped all the gifts that I'd got for people.
Yeah.
And actually like tried to do like a good job at
Uh-huh.
it. Because previous years I was just like, oh, I have this excess paper. Well, let's just crumple this up here and just twist it. I did the cheap twist.
The Tootsie Roll thing.
Yeah, the Tootsie Roll twist off. And this year I'm like, okay, you know what? No, 25 years old. Let's make this look decent. And so I was able to, I mean, it wasn't perfect, but I was able to actually like nicely wrap it, do that nice little curve thing on the corners.
Yeah.
So it's a nice fold.
It's the proper way.
Yeah, and my brother actually complimented on me, and I'm glad he did, because I did one of those gag gifts for him where I put his gift in a box, wrapped the box.
You always gotta have one of those.
So I spent a lot of time on that, so thankfully I got recognized for it.
I feel like this might be just me. I feel like a lot of people don't do the proper like clean wrapping. I feel like they just like kind of tussle it together. I only say that because my family, I'm like one of the only ones that kind of pays attention to the wrapping.
I think it depends on like the person's like mannerisms and how they do things. Like the gift I got from my dad this year was just like, here you go. But my grandma's like super meticulous, so she's like, you know, had perfect edges. Like it used to be like when I was younger, but still old enough to buy gifts for people, I would just have her do it and then have someone else. I would just outsource my wrapping, have someone else wrap her present, and then she would just wrap everyone's. And then I was like, you know what? I'm a little bit older. I got to take my responsibility. I'm an adult now, but this looks like shit. And then, so I think this past Christmas was like the first opening up of like, oh, I can do all of this Christmas stuff.
Yeah. My grandma, she's like an avid shopper of Goodwill in Valley Village, and so like every Christmas, which I don't mind, you know, but she has like she doesn't wrap, she does like gift bags, and like every time you go in, it's like stuff that looks like you've donated yourself, and she just rebought it back when you were like 5 years old, and she gives it to you, and like, you know, it's my grandma. I'm not gonna like hate on it, so I take it
Right, exactly.
gracefully. But she does the same thing like with Halloween. So like with Halloween, we tried this year to be different, which we were mostly successful for. But every year back then, she'll always like buy those like super cheap You know the candies that you always wonder where like grandma gets them
The
from?
raspberry one or the
strawberry
ones?
ones? Yeah. And I still, to this day, I still don't know where she gets it. But like every like Halloween, she'll bring like a shitload of them, and she'll start individually like taking one from each pack and put it in a plastic baggie, and that's what she gives the kids. And it looks like she's like some kind of drug dealer, because it's like these little plastic bags, and she gives it to the kids, and the kids every time look at her like just looking at
like, what is this?
Yeah, because it's in a plastic bag, and it's all like the candy that you think comes from a retirement home.
Yeah.
And so like 2 years ago, my mom and I just sat her down and say, look, we like your candy and we appreciate that, but let us buy candy this year. Let us buy normal candy.
Not repurposing the candy that just materializes out of nowhere. No one knows where it comes from.
Yeah, and so this year was the closest that we got it, and we actually got like all these, the normal candy.
Right.
And somehow, and I'm still mad, somehow after we packed all of it, my grandma still hid all that grandma candy inside. And we told her specifically, don't buy that candy. Like, we appreciate it, but don't buy it. And she still bought it, and she hid it.
That's what I do.
So on the day of, when I brought out the candy, this is my first time looking at it, I saw like her baggies, the zip bags were still in there. And I was like, oh my God, I have to pass this out now. So she did not listen to us at all.
Well, now it's good to know. I've always wondered those little tiny baggies. It's like, okay, who else besides drug dealers buy these things? Now I know that it's grandmas trying to spite their family to wrap up the strawberry candies.
Like, it's just so, I don't know, like, it's so sweet that like she puts in the time, but from our end, like, let us be Americans, just get out the candy out.
I got an apple one year for Halloween. I went trick-or-treating in a trailer park. Not that has to do with, like, they're poor and they don't have candy to give out, but it was a change of scenery of what I was used to trick-or-treating.
I feel like it'd be the opposite, where rich neighborhoods pass out apples. That's just
no, because they give like the king-size bars. Like, they go all out.
Oh, that's
so for the majority of my youth, I trick-or-treated in a upper-class neighborhood.
Yeah.
That was right up the street from me. Mm-hmm. It was called the Summit, and it was just a big hill. And
sounds rich.
Yeah, all of these nice houses. We lived at the very bottom, so we didn't count.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had like all of the nice candies. So one year I switched it up with a different friend and went to a trailer park. And so, you get your typical candy, all this, but then someone handed out an apple, and as a kid, I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
This isn't candy. And then that was the first time that I saw a black cat too, which is kind of freaky.
Right.
On Halloween, there was a black cat sitting
at
in
a trailer park.
Yeah, in a trailer park. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm fucked now. Okay. But I got home and like showed my loot to my mom. I was like, look at all this stuff I got, like name brand stuff, off brand stuff, and then this apple. And she's like, throw that apple away. Like, what are you talking about? It's
not
Halloween.
It's
apple.
my idea.
Yeah. And she's like, this was like what you have to deal with when you grow up as a kid to a parent that's a cop. She's like, people put razor blades in apples and try to fuck you up. And I'm like, why would someone do that? She's like, I don't know. Just throw it away. And I'm like, well, I kind of wanted that apple now. And I never got it. So.
Oh, man. I didn't think about that. Yeah. The king size candies, because I kind of lived when I was a kid and I lived in, Marysville, there's Getchell. Do you know the Getchell area? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that to us was the bougie area.
Yeah. Well, that's up on a hill too.
Yeah.
So you can make
it's
that
on
argument.
Too, yeah. So, and we actually had a bunch of houses that gave the king size candy bars. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we'll go, and it was just me that trick-or-treated, but like my uncle, my dad, getting free stuff, they'll go with me too.
Oh, of course.
And then we'll go to this one house that always had it every year. And then we'll go back and they'll recognize us like, oh, hey, oh, yeah, go ahead. And then we'll come back the third time and they're getting like, okay, you guys need to stop now. And
trying to cheat the system.
Yeah. But this year, I guess last year, my mom bought like this 30-pack of king-size bars from Costco. And I had to sit down with her like, Mom, like, I'm not trying to be racist, but Mom, we're not white people, we're Asian people, so we can't give this out. This doesn't work for us, and we don't live in that nice of a neighborhood too. And she just
we
looked
have
at
an
me.
image to maintain. We can't act too bougie.
Yeah, and she tried arguing, and I said no. And this is why I told her like, Mom, we're not white. Don't do this. And she looked at me and said, okay, I won't do it. And we still have that box. Like, I brought hella candy to school that one day for a study group. And that's like probably the most that we've given out. We still have like half of that pack there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
nice.
I told her specifically, don't give out that candy. And even though we won't eat it, it's just like this thing that we have. And I don't mean to be racist with that, but it's just like...
Oh, no, the last thing you want to do in 2019 is come off as white.
Yeah.
No one wants to be white.
I'm sorry.
No offense taken. I don't want to be white. And it's lame. It's not cool anymore. We as a whole have had our run. Our run's over. We're trying to hold on, but I'm not trying to hold on.
Asian people, we still have our disadvantages because we're looked at, and I'm racist to my own people too, because I hate a lot of things about Asian people. I hate the way that my grandma always bargains, even though we're like at a Fred Meyer's or Costco. She
tries to bargain at Fred Meyer
all the time. Not Fred Meyer example, but she'll bargain at any kind of store we go to, even if it's not that kind of way. And like not to the sometimes not to the cashier, but usually with me, like, hey, can't we get this for like 20% off? Don't you know somebody? This is what they say all the time. My dad's side of the family. Don't you know somebody that works at Nike or Adidas? Can't they give us a discount?
Yep.
And like, even if there is, I'm like, I mean, I don't want to because I don't talk to them that much. Like, no, you know them. Why can't they give us a discount? And my grandma, she does that, especially with restaurants. Like if we go to Seattle and she speaks Chinese too. And so she'll like in Mandarin or Cantonese, whatever, she'll say like, hey, can't you give us a discount just for Chinese too? And she bargains every time we go somewhere, and it just kind of irks me because like I'm just trying to have a peaceful time, not be that customer group that's trying to be dicks. And I'm just trying to like back off. But she's always like, even like at the outlet mall, she's like, oh, like she'll cuddle up to the retail person. And when she's trying her shoes, and she'll nonchalantly just throw in there, oh wow, you're so pretty, oh man, oh, can we get this for like 20% off? And I just look at her like, grandma, stop it, just let her do her job. And it's always like that. So that's why like now whenever she asks, and I hope she doesn't watch this guy, but whenever she asks like, oh, do you know somebody at a like this store that has something? And usually it's no, but if there is, I'll stay like, oh yeah, but I don't talk to her that much anymore. We're not that much friends anymore. And she always asks, oh, are you sure? Why can't you just ask her for me? I'm like,
I'm trying to save some money.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm trying to save my face, so I don't know.
Did your grandma ever play the race card to like get out of something, of like not knowing how to speak English and just like not knowing the customs of the culture?
On the contrary, and this is actually a different grandma that does the Halloween candy stuff. That was my mom's side. That was my dad's side. On the contrary, she embraces it to the point where she says like swear words to whoever's like, I can't name an instance, but like it's funny because like the stereotype about like Chinese grandmas is that they're super like full hospitality. They're super nice, like, oh, how this, which she is, but when you flip the switch and she gets mad about something, she'll like go super fob. She's like, oh, that fucker. Oh my God. Let this motherfucker do this. It's so funny because like she's so nice and so sweet. But when it comes to stuff that she's passionate about or she's defending, which is, righteous, she does that. And she's like, oh my, fuck that guy. And it's just so funny. Kind of flips
the script.
Yeah. And sometimes she doesn't usually do it in public, but if we're in public and like she's annoyed, she'll be all nice to them in a petty way, and then to us like, oh my God, that motherfucker, why'd she do that? And in our language she'll say the same words, like, that motherfucker, why'd she do that? Oh my God. And it's cool, but at the same time it's like that added level of spice and grandma that you wouldn't expect. That's just like you kind of like half like, oh man, you need to calm down, but half like, oh man, I respect that.
Like, that makes sense. Like, you're real, keep it real, grandma.
But we don't rarely, I don't think that they get racial profiled, because where she works at Albertsons. I won't say which one, but she works at Albertsons, and she's probably the customer favorite out of everybody there. And so that, alone gives her that respect. But I don't think that she gets racial profiled that much.
Well, my question is like not being like profiled, but like playing the race card of like, I'm not from here, I don't understand, so then maybe I could get a deal or anything like that. Like,
not really, but she does like use her lack of language as like kind of a comforter to that topic. And she's like, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say this, but can we do this? And she like throws in that, I'm sorry, I don't understand this language that much. And she tries to play the victim card in that sense, like, feel bad for me. I'm not even like, you don't know that I'm from here, but feel bad for me. I might not be from here. So she plays that, but like her English is like excellent for what it is, but she still has like trouble with words, and she uses that kind of as an anchor to hope that people will like be nice to her and all that. Which is like a play of power, in a sense.
You could look at it could be like a little cheap, but I mean, it's like if you don't know all the words,
I prefer
it's
that.
not your fault.
I prefer that than for her to straight out say, can you give us 20%? Like the bargaining at like a friend of ours. I prefer that over that. So I'm totally cool with that.
My plan with, like, because you were saying how, you know, kind of talk shit in your language, not in English. And
Yeah.
like, oh, like, my plan is if I ever go travel internationally, the trick that I'm told is if you go somewhere, don't tell people you're American. Tell them you're Canadian. That'll be like the next best thing, because Americans have such a shitty reputation throughout the world as being loud and annoying.
Yeah, I say that as American too.
Yeah, so it's just like, oh, I'm from Canada, eh? Yeah. Like, just give them a little bit of twang, some Canadian twang.
Really?
I haven't done it yet, but that's my plan. Yeah, because I haven't gone. I've only been to Canada, so you can't, if you do that there,
pull it off well though.
Yeah,
you got the little Canadian beard. Yeah, the Chuck Sway. When you what was it the contest for
the lumberjack?
Was it Chubbies?
The Chubbies.
Yeah, that looked kind of Canadian, not to be stereotypical.
Well, no, I mean that
one right there.
One right here.
Yeah. I don't know if you can see it.
Jump it over. Yeah, the lumberjack. Now get back here.
I still that photo shoot. I think that was dope. I'm surprised. Do you know how far that you got on that?
So there were only 2 rounds of that competition. So the first round was just general submissions. There was like a whole application fill out, like there are different blocks. There's a blog post on the website that kind of, I copied and pasted everything that I put in there. But yeah, it was basically just submit it and then just share it to your friends and then have them vote for you. And then that was like the first round. I think it was like 2 weeks. And then after that, they selected 20 finalists, and of those 20 finalists, 10 won. And so then it was
10 won.
Yeah. And then it was just all to voting. They just had to check who's voting. Oh, that's the iPad going off. Damn, I forgot to mute that.
The 10 finalists. So from the 10 finalists, then they only picked one, or those 10 finalists?
No, those 10 come. They were added to the pool of models that they have for their products, and so.
Did you become one of the 25 finalists?
No.
What?
So that's what I was disappointed from, because so they said that voting was 10% of the selection process, and then the other 90% was how your application was submitted and the photos submitted and all that. And the problem and it was a learning experience for me, but the problem I had once it announced the finalists is they all already had Chubby's gear, like products on, and they actually were wearing it on the photo that they submitted. So it's like, it's a brand play. Like, it's not just because I did a photo shoot and dubbed myself model that it qualified me for consideration. So I was a little disappointed with that, but then like kind of saw into the methodology of how they conducted their contests, and so
you drew that because that's your actual
real beard.
You drew that for a while, huh? When did you take that shoot?
So this photo shoot was done in November of 2016,
because we were at Wazoo, right?
We were, but I had sat on the photos for a year. So I did the shoot. So last year was 2017. So 2016 is when we did the shoot. I sat on them for a year. I'm like, okay, the original plan for this, I was talking with my buddy who shot me. He's like, we should make a calendar, like a lumberjack calendar for you.
I can see it.
Yeah. And so I'm like, fuck, let's do it. So we go out into the woods. We do the whole shoot. We take like 100-something pictures.
Yeah.
And then he sends them to me. And by that time, it's like January or February of 2017
or 8.
I'm getting my years mixed up because we're in February now. Okay, so 18. The contest was last year. No Shave November. Was
so 17 then.
So 17, yeah. We get into there and I'm just like, well, it's not really appropriate to share these out. Although, even though I want to, it's not appropriate to. So I was like, I'll just wait until the next November. So when those photos are actually shared to the public, the beard had been, dead and gone for a while. But I grew it out.
Because I don't remember you having that beard in school. I don't have any recollection of that.
I had it when we were at Everett Community, but I don't know. It was over the summer. I grew that thing over the summer into the fall and then shaved it off. And what was really funny, have you ever had a thing where like you've done something to your body where your hair a certain way or a certain article of clothing that you really like, and then you get rid of it or something happens to it, and then people start coming out of the woodwork. They're like, we're so glad you got rid of that. That was so fucking bad. Yeah. That's exactly what happened. I shaved the beard off, and they're like, I'm so glad you did that. You were so fucking ugly. And I'm like, well, thanks for telling me during.
When it mattered.
And I've gone through that twice I've had like a whole facial hair journey throughout my life. So I was able to grow a beard like in 9th grade, and I was embarrassed by it. So
Really?
I would shave it. I'm like, I don't want to be hairy. And then by the time I got to high school, I'm like, whatever, we'll just do a beard. So I did the pencil line, like the douchey pencil line. And then after that, this was like the first experience of that same thing of no one telling you that you look like absolute shit because they're being polite or whatever.
Yeah.
I grew out like these little like shark teeth right here, but didn't have a mustache.
Oh my, really?
So it's just I'll see if I can.
Do you have a picture? I want to see that.
I do have a picture. Let me go to my Instagram. But yeah, so I had that for like a year.
So no middle, just the
No mustache, just like I call them little shark teeth.
that looks like a facial feature on GTA.
Everything was inspired by Grand Theft Auto, or even if you know the game Saints Row, where you can fully customize your character. But yeah, no one told me about that, and then I finally got rid of it, and then I did the huge bushy lumberjack beard. No one said anything until after the fact. So I'm just kind of in a look now, and I'm probably not going to do anything with it.
So is this what people prefer? Right? Oh shit! What people prefer right now is the what you have.
What I have. I think it's because what they're used to. Like I got my haircut this weekend, and I was like, I thought about it. I'm like, I'm just gonna keep my beard like a little scruffy. And my girlfriend's like, no, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Like it makes sense. Like do what the people.
I see
want.
kind of the pencil saver thing.
That's
a little bit more thicker.
There's a better one. There's one where I was in Pike Place Market.
Can people see on the thingy?
I'll switch it over once we find it. I know I'm close. Shit. There's no hair.
Oh man.
I think I've pulled this up before.
And you had a shirt that says "Keep Seattle Beard."
Keep Seattle Beard. Yeah, that was I think the last time I did a full blown shave. That was for No Shave November. November's always a special month for me.
Is that high school?
No, let's see. This was, when was it uploaded? 2013. So right after high school.
Oh.
But where the fuck is it? Yeah, this.
Is that a mohawk that I saw?
Yeah, that was high school. That was just for the week.
Oh, okay.
We did mohawks for our big rival in high school was Bothell. So the week before we played Bothell, it was Fuck Bothell Week or Buck Bothell Week, or FB Week, however we wanted to say it. And so the majority of the football team would shave mohawks. Well, what you can't really see in this picture, which it is somewhere, is I had like a Mr. T look, because you can see on the side here.
Yeah, I see that. I see that. I was just gonna say.
So I set that. I don't think it's on here, but I set the another Mr. T picture to my email profile and didn't change it until like, I don't know, a year ago. So people, here's where we're getting into the shark teeth.
Oh,
but okay. I was sending out professional emails with me looking like Mr. T in the profile picture. It was bad. It's really bad. Okay, we have to be getting closer, or I overshot it completely. But
the quality of the pictures are looking a little more.
These were on the
2012.
On my HTC, whatever that my old phone was. That's kind of there. Shit.
It's like 30-40%.
That's
like you.
Probably like close you get. It's these little shark teeth.
Oh, okay. So
it's like
up.
It was like a pencil line beard, and then these little. And I just did it. There was no one I was like modeling that behavior after.
Yeah.
It just kind of happened.
I'm not gonna lie. If we went to the same high school and I was like an underclassman, and I saw you and I didn't know you, I would probably avoid you. I'd probably be like, okay, me, Asian guy, no sports, him, football player, that beard. I gotta avoid that guy.
I was just like an obnoxious. I don't know. I was just loud and obnoxious. I wasn't really a dick to anyone. I take that back. Like I feel bad. Like I was a bully for some kids. But I was also bullied, so I guess it evens out. Whatever. But I'm sure we would have gotten along. But if you would have seen, this fucking hairdo or the beard do, I would have avoided me. I would, if I could go back in time and find myself during this time, I'd avoid myself for sure.
Or tell
fucking
you
loser,
stop.
dude. It's like, just do it normally.
The equivalent to, I guess, if we're going to go with stereotypes, the equivalent of white men with beards would be Asian guys and like their obnoxiously like swagged out outfits.
The hype beasts?
Yeah, but like I was even worse because like at the time, hype beasts were like cool. That's when they were still cool, or they're like the trend. Me, like I like, because I didn't have that much money and I didn't really buy that much. I had to like, my parents were the ones that bought me the clothes I wore. And so like I would be wearing this ridiculous outfit, this ensemble of like, it's like a hat, like a true, like I remember, so my my freshman year outfit was all blue jeans, blue shoes, blue, those sweaters that has the crisscross, I forgot what it's called.
Oh, the pattern. It's like the diamond pattern.
Yeah. So that was also blue. And I had a blue Cookie Monster hat that I only wore like once. And I like had it attached to my pants. And I remember thinking that was the very first day of freshman year of high school. And I was thinking to myself, man, I'm the shit today. And like I had a girlfriend at the time. I was like, oh man, she probably loves me right now. Man.
She's just digging me.
Yeah. And I was thinking, oh my God, I look so good right now. God. Like I
do
finally
you have a picture like publicly posted of this?
I think I do.
Where is it?
Shit. Let me see if it's on Instagram. I might have archived it out of shame. I probably did if it's on. Yeah, let me see if it's on archive. Hold on. Because this is like, obviously when you look back in your past, you cringe. But for me specifically, I cringed so much back then because I'm entirely different than the person. It's not on Instagram. I don't know where it's at, but I don't have it with me right now. But God, it was so bad. You know what? It might be on my Facebook.
It might be on Facebook.
It might be on Facebook.
Or on your MySpace. Did you have MySpace?
I had MySpace. So I don't know how logged back in now. But the thing with my Facebook, I hope whoever's watching this did not go on my thing, because my Facebook, that's where I don't touch is my photos and videos of back then. That I don't touch that anymore.
It's like a vault.
It's a vault of things that you should never see me. Like if like it's not bad, like it's not like me being a bad person, but God, if I ever became famous and like I still had that up, people like the paparazzi would use that against me. I hate looking at my Facebook now because like I would do these vlogs. Like I was a YouTube like fanatic.
Oh, I didn't know you did vlogs and stuff.
Yeah, I did. And actually people knew me for vlogs on Facebook, but like they weren't good vlogs. They were just me being really like, oh my God, it's so bad. It's like Tide Pod Challenge, but not like that stupid. It's just like
the ridiculous trends of that time though.
Yeah.
Of whatever was going on.
Go up to albums, I think. Albums, yeah. So we'll look for that the picture of me in freshman year. Keep going down. Let's see, go down. Okay, maybe go
middle school?
I don't think so. Go up a little bit.
It's 3 posts.
You can go middle school. I don't know what's in there. Okay, so this is in the top videos in high cap class. That's obviously Spirit Week, and then that's our middle school dance.
Wait, is this?
That's me with my girlfriend at the time, and I was like crazy about my hair. And whenever I dressed up like that, people would say I look like a yakuza, or I want to be yakuza. But like I drew my hair long, and my hair is super like thick and hard because it's Asian hair. So I have to use super hard gel and do it. This is at the time where like
spike it.
Yeah, this is at the time where like Asian spiky hair was like kind of the trend. Kind of that
like the Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone wants to like slick.
And that's kind of like in my mind, like, oh man, I hope I look like Dragon Ball Z. I might have deleted shit. Go down. Okay, maybe I deleted it. Tried Good Times. Yeah, so all those hats that you see all my friends wearing, that's like at the time. I always looked up to my friends because they always look cool and I don't. And you could see me like in the picture of that group picture.
This one?
That fedora is not mine, but that's how I dressed, which is kind of how I dress now. But like everyone else would be like kind of like the hype beast cool, and I'm like that guy that like the guy that just talks about like weird stuff.
Do you still have the same necklace? Because I've seen that necklace before. Is that the same one?
I changed pendants.
Okay.
But this is where I'm at now. I think the chain might be the same. I don't know. The chain looks long. But yeah. So like, there's like people in my friend group that dressed up really nice, and like if I had all my photos up still, you would see like the trend line of our styles going from like obnoxious hype beast to kind of casual to like just really stuck up formal.
That's there's definitely like an evolution on
maybe
my Instagram.
Profile pictures. I'm trying to think. I don't think I deleted it.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, that shirt. That's the shirt that I wore. But think of that and no red inside shirt and like a Cookie Monster
all
hat.
Blue?
Yeah, all blue. Like there was no any other color except blue. I hated all that, dude. That was a Spirit Week. But that hair is every day. I'd wake up like 15 minutes early just to do that hair.
Style it and push it up.
And it doesn't matter how long it was, I'd still just spike it up. And sometimes it get up to that where it's just like this Wolverine look because my hair is just so long. And I think that, to be honest, sometimes I dress up like that just for the fuck of it. And if I was to like, you know, it's nice, but like, God, oh my God.
I remember this is all great stuff.
I
like how too that because this has been in your profile pic for so long.
Yeah,
it does not take long to get back to all of this.
I'm trying to keep that so then people don't. The reason why I haven't changed it is because if I change it, people will think, oh, he changes the profile picture a lot, and then they look and they see all that other shit, and I don't want to delete it because I have family on Facebook, and if they see me delete that, they might get offended because they'll say, oh, why do you delete that stuff? But oh my God. Like some of the pictures, you will even see some of my like family friends like, oh man, you take a lot of pictures of yourself.
There's something you can't deny. Even if it is cringeworthy, it definitely speaks to like who you were as a person back then.
Yeah.
And kind of like seeing how you've evolved as a person. So I think like time capsule type things on social media, I enjoy them, especially if it's someone you know and you can go back and they're not so self-conscious of who they are.
Yeah, like
currently.
now I don't mind. It's just still cringeworthy. Like I kind of want to slap myself in the face.
Most definitely.
But like, so like that shirt right there, the one that I wore, like, you know, those kind of shirts, those are the shit for me. I thought that looked so good in that picture. I thought I looked so good with my hair and everything. And this at the time where swag was a thing and the little XD emoticon.
Oh yeah.
But the pictures are one thing, but the videos, oh my God. I don't remember the last time I watched one of my vlogs because I did like short vlogs, and if you can even call it vlogs on Facebook, but I did like kind of like actual vlogs on YouTube. It would have, I think it'd be in albums, or no, Rilee's videos maybe. Yeah, so so those things are short clips, and it's just me just like kind of talking about my day, or like one time I remember this one time that got a lot of likes or views at the time. I was eating a McChicken. McDonald's chicken sandwich, you know?
Yeah.
And I was just eating like super obnoxiously. I don't remember why, but I was just eating super obnoxiously. And for some reason that got like a lot of like, to me, a lot of likes.
Yeah.
And then like I'd post videos of my little brother at the time, and you can hear me like trying to you can hear me trying to pressure him to say something cute so I can be popular.
Yeah.
And like I don't watch anymore because I feel so bad for my little brother at the time because it's me like doing like an
You're
Asian.
just whoring him out. Like.
Yeah, it's like me doing an Asian voice because he like has a super cute fob baby voice. But like you can hear me like in our native language, like Zayden, say this, come on, say it. Like I would pressure him to say it, and I feel so bad for him. So I don't watch it. Because the me at the time, oh my God, I hated it.
I did that once with the neighbor kid, and it didn't go viral, but it got like way more views than anything else on my YouTube channel. I had an old Palm Pre. It's just like an old smartphone. It had the keyboard. It was like a touch screen and everything, but it was like very primitive. Yeah. And so I took the video on that, and the gag is that I was going to show him. It was one of those like freak out videos where you watch it and you jump. There's like a jump scare.
Yeah.
So I had originally shown it to him, and he freaked out. And then I'm like, oh, I'll make a video of it. Just pretend that you were seeing it for the first time again. And so he did, and then he freaks out, like no acting skills. I mean, he was, I don't know, 5 or 6. So it's like, but anyways, it blew up. It got like 1,000 something views. And like, I was just like, I didn't try to do that, but it just happened, whatever.
And that just sounds fucked up. My friends, we did like, or I say we did, but I think we only did like 1 or 2 like skits. It might be on here still. There's like the very first skit that we did. It was called just go down. So you go to videos of Rilee, then that one. Go down. Let me see if it's still in there. Can you type in on the search bar? Because I think it's like it's so like super 2008. Type in Maurice Jaramillo. J A. That one right there. Yep. It's either on his or his brother's. If he still has it. Try the top one. That one. Try that. Can the video? Oh, this is the one. Yeah. So can they see on this?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we can move it over.
This is a skit that we like planned like the night of.
Was this for a class?
No, it was just.
It's just for fun.
She got booty though.
Oh, really?
The guy on the right's the guy that.
Yeah.
Dang, Rilee. Damn. Dog, get your butt to the bathroom, dog. You stink. You crap yourself, dog. You good. You're nasty. Hey, bro, pass the popcorn. I got you, dog.
Oh, go Cougs.
Dude, look at my race. What the? What the? Dog, Steven. What if Maurice is not sleep?
What the heck?
What the heck?
What? Is there something wrong?
Make sure I look good.
This took so many recuts because they just kept on laughing.
Yeah.
And you could see Steven moving too. And then like
It's the rock in the building.
What the?
Cali.
I just saw the outtakes, dude.
Yeah.
This was like the integral part of videos that kids
Yeah.
our age, like during this age, this time period, we always had to do a gag reel at the end.
yeah, exactly. So this was at the time when we were in freshman year, and Steven, which is the guy on the left of Anthony, that guy right there on the left, him and I, and the very first guy on the very corner, the one in the hood,
Yeah.
the three of us went to Marysville Getchell High. Well, all of us did, but we went to the communication school of Getchell, which is like the video one. And so this was at the time where we were kind of practicing. We would say practicing our video skills, but we just knew what to do. We just used it for fun.
Just having fun.
And that's why, like, you know, as bad as the video, you know, as like 2012 as the video is, I actually like, I'm surprised at like the amount of like cuts that we had for the different angles, despite like the quality and all that. But it shows that we were actually in video class. But that's like a skit, that like a group skit. And then like on YouTube, I think I had a channel that had like 2 vlogs. That was me like imitating this one vlogger that I really liked.
I did a similar thing, but it was actually for a class. I think it's on here. These are all
You bumping up the hundreds views.
public. Oh yeah. Let's see here. It was
The 2100?
Oh, that's the one I was telling you about.
Oh,
that
okay. Got it.
was the one that kind of blew up for no reason. But we did a similar thing. I won't play through all of it, but if you search Pedo Go-Go on YouTube, all of these, it's like a backlog of videos from, you know, before I got any sort of skill. But we did this for our 9th grade art project. And this was on like a little cheap digital camera and then edited with Windows Movie Maker.
Oh, really?
And just like each time we would have to go up to the camera and click stop recording. So it was incredibly basic.
To the eye doctor. No, to the dude first. Then the eye doctor. Let's go.
Are you wearing a pillow?
Yeah, I have a pillow that's supposed to be like really fat, so I had to,
okay.
in order to get ready for this Guitar Hero competition, I had to get skinny.
Oh, okay.
So I think after we get like a time jump here.
This is when you were in 9th grade?
Yeah.
What?
I feel fine. To the eye doctor.
You need contacts.
And it just like nothing made sense. I'll exit out after this scene.
These are amazing.
So it's just stupid shit, but it was so fun.
That's the pinnacle of our youth. It's just
Exactly.
doing that at the time that we were the shit, and then looking back like, oh man.
I wanted to mention. I'll make sure you're not getting cut off. You're good. I wanted to mention because it reminded your first day swag and all the blue.
Mm-hmm.
I went and got a pair of shoes from the Reebok outlet store, and they were a Kool-Aid collab. And this was before like all these brand collaborations were like really big. So, but it was a Kool-Aid. So they were these red Kool-Aid Reebok shoes. And the thing that I just had to have them is they actually smelled like cherries. It was one of those like scratch and sniffs where the inside.
On the shoes?
Yeah,
What
in the shoes.
Like, that lasts a good week.
Like inside. Let's see if I can find them. But yeah, so I just had to have them. I think it was the first day of 9th grade. I wore them and then never wore them again.
Why?
I was like, I got like self-conscious of them, like didn't know if I liked them or not, but
What?
they did like a whole collab with like different colors, different flavors.
That's
and
what-
I
I
got
worked
the
at-
red ones. I got the cherries.
I worked at Reebok, so like I know the type of shoes, but it's like they basically just took the same shoe and just put the Kool-Aid logo
The Kool-Aid,
over it.
yeah. And yeah, I went into the outlet store and I'm like, I have to have these. They had
That looks like the shit that you see on the Cartoon Network, the sweepstakes commercials that they have.
like giving away just like all
just
this
in
different
general,
swag.
yeah. The trope that's out in that era.
Yeah, so I mean,
But it actually smelled the cherries.
it smelled like cherries until you wore them like once, and then they just smelled like feet. But yeah, that was the pinnacle of my swag.
But you only wear that one day?
Only one, like the first day of school, and then for whatever reason I got self-conscious of them. Like,
Did people say something? Or?
I don't think anyone said anything. I think that was the problem. Is no one said anything. They never mentioned my dope Kool-Aid Reebok, so I was like, oh, I'll just stick to Fila's and Nikes. Like, I don't want any other shoes.
So just because you didn't get that hype from
Yeah, I
other
didn't
people.
get the reaction. Very self-centered and narcissistic as a 9th grader. Like, I was like, why?
I can relate
Why don't
to
you
that.
recognize my fit? I'm trying to stay fresh with my fit. Why don't you say
Yeah.
anything about it?
I can relate to that. With me, it's like dressing super formal with like dress shirts for just no goddamn reason. And like people are saying like, oh man, you look so nice today. And I'll just bump up my ego.
Yep.
And like, that's why I started dressing. That's one of the reasons why I started dressing really fancy, just so I can get more attention. It's sad.
It was weird. I was anti like formal clothing as a kid. Like it was a struggle when my great grandma passed away. We had to go to her funeral. Like my mom, it was a struggle with her to get me to wear a button-up shirt and a tie and all that. For some reason, like
Just didn't go with you.
I didn't like it. I don't know. I thought that if it was like a uniformed, like typical business wear, that I was somehow yielding to the conformity of being, not being different. And so I was like, fuck that. I don't want to do that. And then now it's like, well, yeah, ties and shit. That's all nice. Like that's you're all spiffed up. That's what you wear.
That was me with skinny jeans in the 6th grade, or moving from elementary school to middle school. At first, I didn't want to wear it because they just looked so uncomfortable. And I was the kid that wore like the boot cut like pants.
Oh yeah,
like the really super
almost
ones.
parachute ones.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't wear. I had no sense of style like in the 6th grade. And like my friends at the time that I got closer to, they were like wearing like really stylish stuff. The people that were talking about. And like that's when like my subconsciousness started like kicking in. Like, oh man, like I can't be around these guys if I'm the one that looks like the trash. So I begged my mom to give me like just skinnier jeans, not like skinny jeans, but just skinnier jeans.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, okay, well, like these are skinny jeans, and they're still super baggy. I'm like, oh, mom, stop it, come on. And I couldn't say anything because like she bought them for me.
Yeah.
And so I just wore them, but like I was like kind of known as the kid that like wore like the super baggy pants, and I think the 7th grade was when I got like It was around the time that I got a girlfriend, thank God. But
So you knew you were doing something right.
Or maybe that was the 8th grade. But like, I got like skinny jeans, and like they weren't just like skinny; they're super skinny jeans. And I have naturally bigger calves, so they look just like suffocating on me.
Yeah.
And I thought that I looked so good, but like, cause they're my first pair of like skinny jeans, and people were like, my friends are actually worried, like, aren't those kind of tight for you? I'm like, no, they're fine. And inside, like, gosh, they're so tight. Oh my God.
Nothing can breathe. I
Like,
can't feel anything below my waist.
I have to like sit like kind of in a wall squat because I can't sit down at all. And it's just back then it's a price I paid for swag.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Were you in the heyday, or did you get sucked into the days of South Pole? Because I'm trying to think, how old are you now?
I'm 22 now.
22. Okay, so we got three years. Yeah. So we got 3 years in between us. So I was in 7th and 8th grade.
Would be your 9th grade then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, well, all the fashion, I guess that the fashion evolution for me happened like in 7th to 8th grade. And that was at the time when Obey and, not Supreme, but Obey and the Hundreds were popping up.
What was the other one that had...
Diamond?
No. Famous Stars and Straps. Or Stripes. What was it called? It had the F. Had that like F logo. I remember they were popular. I never...
I know what you're talking about.
It was... Yeah, Stars and Straps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the F with the star on it.
Yeah. So not to get like racist here, but like that was like with the white people.
Oh yeah, it's a pretty white brand.
Yeah, but like for me, if you looked up Obey, just like Obey clothing.
I remember my brother has some Obey stuff.
Yeah, so Obey, the Hundreds, that stuff was like with the hype piece and all that, and that was like my group at the time. And I was like obviously the low tier, like he doesn't belong in that group type of guy.
So you didn't do South Pole at all?
No. Because all the clothes I had was from my mom and my dad.
Okay.
I rarely bought my own clothes until like I think the 7th or 8th grade when I bought my first pair of like normal jeans from PacSun. I still remember that, and I wore the shit out of those. And so I bought new PacSun khakis, and that because that was like that time was like the fit was Vans, PacSun khakis, and then an Obey or Hundreds crew neck, which I didn't have. I only had the khakis and the Vans, but I never like had a Obey or Hundreds. The only type of like cool clothing that I got that I like really admired my friends for was from my friends that they got for me for my birthday. But other than that, I always had like kind of my stuff.
These Filas were huge.
Oh,
Everyone had these. I remember it was like this South Pole or Mark Echo jeans.
Yeah.
Baggy as shit.
Mark Echo, yep.
And then South Pole or Mark Echo like 3 sizes too big.
Yeah.
Like loose. I was a huge fan of Rob Dyrdek when Robin Big was still on MTV, like before Fantasy Factory. And so I'm like, dude, I want to look like that.
Yeah.
I know you're like a skinny, kind of scrawny white guy, but I want your style. Like, so I like bagged my jeans. My mom wouldn't let them wear them below my waist.
Yeah.
So I would just have to get jeans that were bigger so they would just appear baggier. So yeah, that was the style. That was the fit. But
yeah. And then somewhere between like, 2009 to 2012, it just went from like baggy clothes to like skinny tight clothes.
Tight, yeah.
Yeah. And I had, it's funny because the clothes that my mom bought me, a lot of them were actually Champion clothes, which nowadays is like the style now.
Yeah.
And back then, because that wasn't the style back then, I was such a bandwagon, like, I hate that clothes. It's just so weird. But like, you look at me now, I'm wearing like that type of clothes. But like, if I would have kept that for now, I would have been like a trendsetter and all that.
Champion, like a couple months ago, I bought a pair of New Balances and did not even bat an eye. I'm like, these are cool. I like them. Whatever. It's like the quintessential dad shoe.
Yeah.
And now it's like New Balance is hip.
Yeah.
It's dope.
And the prices, oh my god.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, like with Champion, the prices of those are like insane. When back then you could just get it at Walmart for like $15.
Yeah, a couple bucks.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my god, dude. It makes me like just regret me being so harsh on my mom back then. Not that I was like bullying her, but
no,
just,
it was like no,
picky.
like you can't have that.
Yeah,
no,
I was
it
so
has
picky.
to be this.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, I hate myself back then. Just want to slap myself. God.
I remember I've only done it once, and I felt so bad after I did it that I'd never want to do it again. But I bought a pair of Jordan Nike collabs.
Oh God, the Jordans too.
that was actually I've only bought 2 pairs, technically like 3 pairs of Jordans to date, but I've only spent like a big ticket item, like $150 retail. And I think I was in like 9th or 10th grade. They were they were Air Force Ones and Jordans. So it was like a collab, and I had to get them. So we went to the store. We were on Air Force Jordan 1. Why aren't they here? It was some weird name, Air Jordan Force 1 something. But $150, and like right when the card rang up and the receipt started printing, I'm like, those are way too much money for a pair of fucking shoes.
Yeah, that is a lot.
So I vowed never to spend that much money on a pair of shoes again. And then I started working for Nike, and I just bought them all at discount. So to the day, I've never spent that much money on shoes, but also I have like probably 60 pairs of shoes.
Yeah.
Too many.
Man,
way too many.
The Jordans, because they're so popular today, which, I think my problem back then, which, people will say that, oh, you can wear anything you want, which I agree. But for me, I feel like back then in middle school and high school, I didn't know that there's things that look good on me and things that don't look good on me. So like today, like I feel like I don't look good in Jordans, not only because they don't look good on me, but because I hate just paying attention to them and not nicking them,
It's like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Like I have 2 or 3 pairs of Jordans that I don't really wear that much because I don't want, there's not really occasion for me to wear it. But I remember in middle school, I had, I can't remember, I don't keep up with all the names, but it was Jordans, like low top, it was white and had green on it. And I remember I always wore it. My friend Aaron, because he was like one of the shoe guys. He really wanted it from me. He wanted to buy it for me, but I told him like, no, I can't. My grandpa got me these. But it would like irk him so bad when he sees me wear it every day and just beating the shit out of them. Yeah. Because they're shorted, and I guess they're like super rare Jordans too. But I always like just wore them every day and have no sense of care for them.
Were they the snakeskin ones?
No, they're white. They look like they're like leprechaun shoes or something, but they're white and green.
Because I know that they're not snake skin, but there's like a snake pattern to them. They're low, they have green on them, and then it's kind of like I'll see if I can find it.
They have like this little rubber thing that like, it's like mesh, but it's not mesh. But no, so those are one of my pairs of Jordans. And I used to wear Jordans back then, but like the more casual ones. And I like those ones.
They weren't these ones, were they? These aren't like these ones?
No, not those ones.
Yeah.
No. I forgot what they were called. But no, he wanted to buy for me to like, cause it was like he saw like me having a puppy, like a dog, and he saw me like just really abusing the dog, neglecting it, and he wanted to rescue the dog.
Let me take it to a good home.
And I'm like, no, my grandpa got this dog for me. That's essentially what it was. And like, to this day, I look back like, man, I wish I treated those shoes better, because I guess they were actually pretty rare. But like now today, like I don't wear them anymore, because the last time I wore Jordans like that was when I went to Oregon, I think, for a trip. And I wore these like brand new like Jordans, like they're white. They look good. They're like white, red, white, and blue, mostly white Jordans, low top. And I wore that with like jeans and a button-up shirt with a tie. And you could probably see it on like Facebook or something. But like I wore that, and I thought I looked so good. But just looking back, oh my god, I looked so obnoxious, because I'm wearing like casual jeans, a really like dressy kind of shirt with a tie. Yeah. And like
so
Jordans.
Like you didn't really know what, or you looked like you didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, it looked like I was trying to get attention. Yeah. Like I was trying to like be someone that I obviously wasn't. And that's what I'm trying to get at, is like now today I know like my style, because I know what looks good on me and what like kind of looks whack on me.
Yeah. Well, and that's all about figuring out like what works for you, like what kind of aligns with what the trends are, and then also what you're down with. Like, I don't give a shit about Jordans anymore. Yep. I do not care. They're not worth my time. I don't actually really even like the styles of it.
And that's not to bag on the people that do.
No,
like,
not at all. But I'm not going to spend hundreds of dollars on Jordans that I do not give a shit about. Yep. Yeezys, on the other hand, I've been telling myself, like, for the sake of it, I'm a huge Kanye fan. So that's like one reason. But the other reason is like, I do really like those shoes. And so I'm thinking maybe cop a pair as like a graduation gift.
Yeah.
But I have a friend who has multiple pairs. I think 3 or 4 pairs, and he's
Really?
a size 17.
What?
Yeah, so
They
he's
make those? Not to bag on, but
no,
man.
he's searched like far and wide to try to
What?
find these shoes. And the good thing
17,
is,
jeez.
yeah, and the market isn't that competitive because well, actually, I don't know. There's not a whole lot of people buying size 17.
Oh, so
but
do
then
they
again,
actually downprice it?
What do you mean?
Like, do they make it cheaper?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, wow.
But I'm trying to think because there's not a whole lot of people that are size 17, but there's not a whole lot of supply of those shoes in 17.
Yeah.
So I think he's gotten deals on them. I think he plays below market average.
Because there's more material to use, too.
That's true, but I don't think they even like consider that.
Oh, okay.
Because I mean, I've been a size 14 since, I don't know, like the last couple of years of high school. I remember my math teacher like saying like, you know, pointing to people with smaller feet, like, you guys are getting ripped off because you're paying for the same amount of price for the shoes you're getting when this guy is a size 14 or 17.
Yeah.
And they're paying the same price. They're getting a better deal. They're getting more material. But
yeah, that's true.
But yeah, Yeezys are kind of the one thing that I would, it's like Kanye West is like a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How much are they again?
It really depends. Some of them are upwards of, you know, a couple $1,000s, but the ones that are like, you know, the cheapest ones that you can find in 14, last I checked, was like $275, $300, which I know I told myself like I'll never spend this much money on shoes.
Jordan just out the door.
But I'm thinking about it. But any Jordans, no.
I think for me, Yeezys they look cool, I guess, but I think I'm more of like I just want something that's like super. I guess the same problem that I had when I was in middle school. Like I saw the hype beast and they're Obey and hundreds. Today it'd be like seeing like the Adidas. I don't know, Adidas, Nikes, those.
The Ultra Boost.
Yeah.
It's the Ultra
so
Boost.
like months ago when I wanted that, but I don't want to spend the money for it.
It's not worth it. Like, and coming from a guy who has too many fucking shoes, it's just like, yeah, sure. Like, we'll add to it. Like the last pair of shoes I bought were a pair of Pumas, and they're like $20. So it was like, now I'm like bargain hunting. Now I'm kind of like your grandma. I'm like, well, we're gonna get the best deal, and if I can get it better somewhere else, I will. But if it's like, because I just walked into the outlets and it was like $20, and I'm like, I mean, they're kind of fly, so fucking charge it. But if I walked in and saw them, like, I really like those, and then it was like, you know, 40, 50, 60, 70, 100, couple $100, like, no, it's not worth it.
Yeah, same here. And that's what I've been thinking. And actually, like, my favorite clothes lately have been super cheap clothes. So I'm still, like, on the same, I can pull it up, like, you know, this, like, I'm still, like, the same kind of casual style. I had, because I worked at Reebok, we, like, closed down our store. Everything was, like, dirt cheap. And there are these pair of shoes that you probably remember them if I brought them out, but like they're up to the point where they're torn now. But they were my favorite shoes, and they only cost $10. Yeah, and those are my favorite kinds of. Those are the clothes I wear the most now. Are like the super cheap clothes.
That's probably the only perk of working retail, in my opinion.
Yeah,
is just the deals
discounts
that you can get, but everything else is all bullshit.
Yeah, and the grandmas that ask for the discounts. But working at retail is just It really is like the discounts, like just having that kind of VIP price, and with it comes the discipline to like not buy that much.
Which, for a lot of people, I was one of them that did not have that discipline or self-control.
Well, yeah, Nike of all places. You could go to the the Portland store or whatever.
The employee store. Yeah, I went there once. I actually got a pair of Jordans. They're the Jordan 1s, but they're not the actual ones or the 1.5s. So they're a little bit different. But I'm like, these are dope. And it was like, I went there, I timed it just right because I was leaving. I was quitting working for Nike like a week before I went to the employee store. So I'm like, I'm going to go down there. I'm going to make a killing. And then I'm going to quit. And then I'm going to be done.
That's the right way to do it.
You know how like some countries require its citizens to serve in the military? It's I think in Israel, I think it's a requirement. A couple other countries. I think in America, not so much the military should be required, but retail. I think every American coming out of high school or in high school has to fulfill a requirement of working retail for at least like 6 months.
It's
6
retail,
months to a year.
The fast food industry, or being some kind of and this is like the upper level one, but working at a grocery store. I feel like it's more of an upper level because the baggers, they actually make a lot of money, don't they? Or is it the cashiers?
Cashiers can make you can make a living being a cashier, and then like
the carts, pushing the grocery carts.
Though that's like the bottom. Isn't that like the bottom?
Yeah, I know, but I'm equating that to retail workers.
Oh, yeah.
I equate it.
Yeah, I just think that it's not only is it a skill of like you can learn the skills of just facing customers and cash handling and all that, but also just dealing with the bullshit. It's just like to have that perspective. So because you can tell like these like you know the meme of like the haircut that the moms have that it's like they'll ask for a manager.
Yeah.
So you can tell that those women have never worked retail and they're just fucking assholes.
Yeah.
So it's like if you at least get that experience and that perspective, because I go into retail store, if I try to, if I take something off the hanger or whatever, I try to put it back, nicely. Same thing with restaurants. If I go to a restaurant, I bust tables for like 2 months, but long enough to like learn and get that perspective.
Because you have that experience and you have that perspective.
So like if I eat out at a restaurant, it's like, at the end of the meal, I'm stacking my plates, I'm putting the water cups on top and everything's nice. So then the busser or the waiter or waitress can come up and just grab it and be on, not make, a scavenger hunt of scraps and
you gotta
just
make it easier for them.
Yeah. So I really think if I were to ever run for public office, that'd probably be like my main platform.
Yeah. And I know there's like a stigma of that one topic where like, oh, it's their job, just let them do it. But there's also like, and I hate it when people like they like diss on people that work or not retail but worked at like McDonald's.
Yeah.
I hate that. Just like it's the same argument where like it doesn't matter where you work. Like if you worked at retail or fast food and versus someone who doesn't, the person that did work there, they have all that experience that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And they have all that credibility to say, hey, I can deal with this people's bullshit. But if you were to be in my position and you went through that, it's not that easy. And I get so much respect for people who do that. One of my old friends, she's still a friend, but we don't talk that much. She worked at McDonald's for a long time to the point where she became a manager. And at the same time, she was doing her college. Right now, she either is doing for a master's or she's already gotten a master's.
Okay.
And she's obviously she's an intelligent person, really on top of her toes. But the fact that like she works at McDonald's as a manager, I feel like a lot of people would say, oh man, that kind of like, but no, it's not. It's like, it's the fact that she stayed at McDonald's for so long shows that not only is she willing to go through the bullshit of everyday people that don't know that experience, but also she's willing to commit to something to work for what she's working for.
Yeah.
And that's something that I can totally respect for people, because the people, I feel like a lot of people, they just care too much. My middle school and high school self, they care too much about the opinions of other people to the point where they won't pursue what they're going for. And whether it's with style or where you work at, I think as long as you just pursue what you want to pursue, that's like the right way to do it, not to just be some like clout chaser and go for where all the hype is at.
Yeah, I think there's a breakdown of like with people, how people deal or perceive people in the service industries. Is there is either people that look at it through like a lens of humanity and recognize that it's a person and we're all equal, or someone who looks at it where it's just a cog in the machine. And those are the people who are typically a lot ruder, because it's just like, well, you're just you're just a worker here. You're here to serve me.
Yeah, serve me my burger.
Yeah.
You don't have to give me anything else.
You don't mean anything to me. And then if you can look at it from a humanity perspective and just be like, I understand you're a person. I usually do, like if I go into a restaurant, I'm usually tipping off of like assuming, not knowing if it's true or not, but assuming that this job is really shitty.
Yeah.
And just be like, okay, like just trying to help you get somewhere else, because I've worked the majority of jobs. I was actually talking to this with my internship like supervisor. I'm like, I don't know if I've been unlucky or just this is how the world is, but I've had so many shitty jobs and so many like shitty bosses and all that. Yeah. That it's like, are there good bosses out there? So that's been like my worldview of just assuming, well, you probably have an asshole that's always breathing down your neck, or this job probably sucks and you probably hate it. So, I mean, here you go. That's the best I can do. Yeah.
And it's just like once you go through all those experiences, your tolerance level for that just goes way, the area is out there, so you can just tolerate a lot more.
Or at least be able to recognize what it is. Because I'd say my tolerance is pretty low for that kind of bullshit. But at least I have the experience I can recognize and be like, I've seen this before. Yeah. I can now strategize how I want to react to how this is going, instead of being like, well, I don't know what's going on, I'm just along for the ride. Oh, that was really shitty. Yeah. Now I know.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, just obviously, the service industry or the lower end like retail part-time jobs, obviously, the ideal is for most people to get like a career like, in Seattle or some corporate job. But even then, like if you were to compare the two, the fact that someone just has a job and going through those experiences, you can't knock them for just trying to make a living and getting that experience. Right. So I really hate it when I see those kind of arguments like on Twitter, or usually not on LinkedIn, but on Twitter, when you see like people like just like, oh man, you worked at fast food, you know, LMAO.
Yeah.
I just don't like that.
It's just like they're showing proactiveness of trying to, you know, fund their lives of whatever they want to do. Yeah. If they have a goal to go beyond, like your friend who's worked and gotten her master's, or if that's become like a career job. And I know people make the argument that, you know, the minimum wage should be raised to $15 an hour. Employees should be paid more. But then when you think about it, it's those skill-based jobs. Like you can't deny that if you go to if you look at any fast food restaurant at any location, they're going to be low-skilled workers.
Yeah.
And so it's like, should they really be paid, you know, more for a job that is low skill? And it's just kind of like a vicious cycle, because it's like, okay, this is your job to flip burgers. It's like, okay, when do I learn to do something else? Like, that's not what you do here. This is all you do. Right. Is flip like this. And so I can understand where a lot of people get trapped. They don't have the avenues of the resources that other people do. And then they're just like, well, this is going to be, you know, I'm just going to work in the fast food service industry or wherever. And then they're kind of stuck. So I think it's a meshing of that, of like, you know, students going to work part-time at some place with the idea that, you know, I'm going to go on and do bigger and better things, mixed with coworkers that are like, you know, I didn't finish high school. I didn't really learn any valuable skills. I don't have the resources to find, you know, maybe learn like a trade or pursue what I want, of the money for it, whatever. This is what I'm probably going to be doing for the rest of my life. So it's tough. It definitely is a tough discussion.
Going with those high expectations just to be stagnant in that whole industry, I guess.
Yeah.
I was trying to say something. I just think that there's this like stigma, you know, because there's that whole pyramid scheme trend that happened a while ago. That was probably still happening. That's still happening. But I think, you know, one of the reasons for that is because people are trying their best to skip that phase where you worked in the service industry, or not even just the service or retail, but just that entry level phase where you get introduced into what the bottom end of you know the workforce is like. And I think they're just so focused on trying to find that unicorn of like that big conglomerate. Yeah, but like they're so focused on like, you can't. It's like with comedy gold. It's not comedy gold if you see it all the time, you know. Yeah. And so with the unicorn, if everyone in the market is trying to chase for that unicorn, it's not a unicorn anymore. And you know, not every single person is going to get it. So you know, and this is like, I don't mean to sound arrogant, but there's always those people that say, oh man, you know, I'm gonna make it. My squad's gonna make it, this and that. But you know, every squad around that area is doing the same thing. And so it's like, you know, you need to understand that, and whether you do or don't, you need to understand that you're not the only people that are trying to get it up there. But just because you're trying to get up there doesn't mean that you shouldn't be looking at these service jobs first. Yeah. You know, it's not like, I just feel like there's so much pride in trying to look super successful so early, and people don't take the chance to appreciate, or not appreciate, but just like go through the phase of, you know, working those lower end jobs and to build that character and, you know, the appreciativeness, if that's the right word, of, you know, what those people go through. I hate using the word those people, but you know what I mean. Yeah, well, I see it as like paying your societal dues of just getting a job that is, a lot of people look down upon just for doing it, but at least like we've been talking about, you get that experience, you know what it's like, customer facing and all that. I think we can run through this hypothetical of like, you see a kid that is graduating high school this spring, is getting out, instead of going, they don't want to go to school, instead of going and getting a job where they can work their way up over time, we're so used to, everyone's so used to this quick, just no attention span, you know, stories on social media are only 10 seconds. Vine, rest in peace, rest their beautiful soul, was only 6 seconds. Everything's so quick. The attention span's so quick. So if you present someone with an opportunity, like if you start here and work long enough, like you can work your way up, become a manager, upper management, whatever. But then you show someone with like a suit driving a nice car, and they're like, hey, I'm part of a pyramid scheme. You can get rich just like me.
and it's like, oh, that's all. It's easy. That's all I have to do.
Yeah, but the only reason why they're so successful is because they're the ones they're at the top of the pyramid. You know, they started the whole thing. Like, given, you know, of course, I don't like pyramid schemes, but, you know, if you're the first one to start a successful pyramid scheme, of course, you're going to be making all the revenue because you get all those downlines that come in.
And they're coming up.
And I just feel like a lot of people, and I hate to, because, you know, I know some people that kind of went through that, not pyramid schemes, but
they like to call them multi-level marketing.
Yeah, which
it is.
The same fucking thing. It's the same method, yeah. But, you know, of course, there is some revenue if you were to get a lot of, I think they're called downlines, but obviously the people that you guys look up to the most, they're the ones that started it. So yeah, you could be like them, but that's only if that whole system works out for the future, which usually it doesn't.
No, and those people that like show like the flashy, nice lifestyles, like that's all part of their plan of like how they want to be portrayed, how they want their image or brand to look to attract more people. To be like, oh, I could be just like this. It's like it's most likely not going to happen.
And it's really contradictory to what they're trying to avoid earlier. Because if, you know, let's say, for example, if someone went into a pyramid scheme because they're trying to avoid a job at McDonald's or the mall, but you're trying to do the same thing because in a pyramid scheme, you have to work to the bottom end. You have to work to climb up. Or not to climb up.
You won't even climb up, though. That's the thing about it.
To build the bottom part, So either way, you're doing the same thing. It's just in a pyramid scheme, you kind of have more to lose because you have to invest into it rather than with the service industry and the retail industry. You just have to just work. And I don't know. It's just, I don't want to say too much, but like, I just wish that people just understood more about like what it is that it takes to kind of be those successful people.
Yeah.
And I just feel like a lot, like what you were saying earlier about like, you know, the 6-second stories, 10-second stories, and seeing all these people, you know, growing up so fast. I think on the flip side of that, I think people are just so anxious to be, or not anxious, but afraid of being left behind.
Yeah.
Like in the market, they're afraid of having all these people, seeing all like their friends and family move up because they stayed on a stable line. Whereas they're trying to explore desperately, you know, which a lot of us are exploring desperately. But I think everyone just has that sense of fear in them that they're afraid of being left behind, and that, you know, sometimes they'll let that fear get the best of them and they just become desperate and they just do some, you know, some not smart things.
Yeah, the social pressure element is absolutely crazy. Like with us being like going to the same school and being considered, you know, non-traditional students, we kind of have like an interesting, diverse student body. But like I've talked to people before that kind of missed that. It doesn't even exist, but in their minds and a lot of people's minds it does. They missed that college train of, you know, right out of high school, go to college, spend those 4 years, get your degree, be in the workforce by 23, 24. And if you miss that, a lot of people see it as like, well, then I'm not going to go to college. I'm too old for it. You know, it's not for me, all of that. And so, yeah, I think, you know, that fear of being left behind, like you're saying, is they can't, like, why start late? They've already missed the bus.
Yeah.
Well, you can't start late. You just don't. And it's like, well, who says that really? Like, is that an actual rule you apply to a college? And it's like, you have to be 18 or younger to apply to our school. It's like, no, if you have money, they'll take it from you.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to go to class.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating, but I understand where those people are coming from, because it's like, oh, like this social pressure of like, I don't have a college degree, I'm useless, I'm working at this low paying fast food job, I'm considered what? Dang, son. Sorry about that. It can be a vicious cycle psychologically. I mean, we talk about like the mental health, it's just there's so many people with mental health issues nowadays. And you can look at it a bunch of different ways. You could argue that it's just because there haven't been as much resources that there are today that there were in the past of like social psychologists and things like that. But there's also these social pressures that hadn't existed before of social media, always looking. It's like the Facebook effect, where people's lives appear more attractive than they actually are in reality.
Yeah.
But you compare what you see on your little screen to what you live in your day-to-day life. So there's just a lot of pressure. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I think I'm going to do a little of a Richardson here.
Yeah.
One of our professors at school is like the super philosophical guy. Super smart, but did he talk to you about the panopticon?
Oh yeah.
So it's like the panopticon, so you see everybody. And I think it's just the fact that like with social media, you see what everyone's doing, you just, again, it adds into that fear of getting left behind. But also, I think it's because of that they're trying to save face, because the fact that everyone can see each other on that panopticon, that they're trying to save face, like, oh, I can't be left behind. If I'm left behind, then the people are ahead, they might think lowly of me, which, usually isn't the case, but it's where that insecurity grows in. But because, you can see everybody and you have that fear of getting left behind, you just get so desperate to catch up in whatever way you can. Or you just get really discouraged and just give up because you're always so far behind.
Yeah. I think take like a quick second to break down for those who haven't had the pleasure of attending like a philosophical lecture of like the panopticon. Yeah, so I can pull up a picture show, but basically the idea is fuck, I have no idea how to spell this.
I think it's P.
Oh, I just saw it.
I think it's PANO.
There it is.
There you go.
Pano. But basically the idea is, and we'll get an image here to show you, but basically it's a prison, and the idea is that all of the cells surround, this central tower.
It's essentially what Guardians of the Galaxy was.
Yeah.
That one scene.
Yeah. So that's a great reference. So the idea is that the prisoners, let me back up. There's usually, in the old days there wasn't, but now if there's a modern day panopticon prison, there's a double-sided, or what is it called? Just the mirrored glass.
Yeah.
Two-way, one-way glass.
Yep.
So there's this mirror. So when you look at the guard tower, you basically just see yourself, and it's the idea of like self-policing, where it's like, well, I don't know what the guards are doing, so I better behave and not try to break out or not try to shiv another inmate or whatever. Right. And so it's like, and it's used in psychology a lot, the example that you just said of like seeing all of this social media stuff mirrored in that guard tower, and then seeing yourself and being like, well, shit, like I'm not doing that. Like, what do I need to do?
Yeah.
What's the proper etiquette? That's why I think that a lot of people it's in the news cycle, like week in and week out, is some news breaks that someone old tweets resurface, and it's just offensive, homophobic, transphobic, whatever. I think that those tweets are sent out, even if it's not in today's day and age, but if it's dug up, because it's like, well, that's what Twitter was back then, is what it is today, is you just, if you have an idea, throw it out there.
Yeah.
If it's racist or transgender or
as cruel as it sounds,
like whatever, it's just like, just throw it out there. Now it's like we have that more like self-policed etiquette for social media.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, this is what, the people that practice hate speech that are very controversial, they still have a following. Like, I just watched or listened to like the 5-hour podcast with Alex Jones and Joe Rogan. Do you know who Alex Jones is?
It sounds familiar.
I just added sound bites of him, and I've been dying to share them with any opportunity. But this is a quick example of Alex Jones.
You fucking goddamn fucker.
Oh, yeah.
You're the people that have fucked this country over. You got that, you goddamn son of a bitch?
So he went on the Joe Rogan show?
Yeah, so he was on there.
Okay.
But he's been like blacklisted he got kicked off of YouTube. He got kicked off of like all the social media stuff because he's considered someone who practices hate speech. After listening to this conversation with Joe Rogan, I don't think that that's the case. And I actually, I'll admit it with no shame, I'm a fan of him now, just because he's fucking loony.
Yeah.
Like, he's insane. He's like, well, the aliens are taking over and the goddamn globalists, like your body, like we're already all going to die. We're a plan, a ploy for the next civilization of alien hybrid animal pigs. And he's insane.
And that's what he actually says.
And that's what he says. That's what he believes in. And he's gained a following. He's a millionaire because people latch onto that. They're like, well, fucking alien hybrids? Hell yeah. Like, I totally believe in that.
Yeah.
So I don't think he practices hate speech, but it's going back to the same idea of, like, you're going to say what you're going to say. Your environment kind of tells you what to say or what to think, at least.
Yeah.
So it's just depending on what that environment is.
And it's kind of like bad marketing, or I don't know if it's bad marketing, but like on Twitter, where like the posts that get the most attention are the ones that have like violence or drama or whatever. And that's like essentially what Alex Jones is doing, is like, getting that marginalized group and bringing attention to it, and just using that that wave to get those people in. And then once you have that latch on, you can just go wherever from there. I think of expanding that panopticon and going from that outer. So you have the outer circle and the inner guard tower. You know, from there, I like to see it as there's an outer circle, and that inner guard tower is another panopticon where there's another circle, and you just keep going. And I feel like, you know, the general goal is to keep moving more inward towards that center guard tower. But, you know, the things like the grime and the past stuff, the things that you'd said in the past, if that comes back up, you have to get moved back into the outer circle. But because, you know, you're constantly going in, you're always self-policing yourself, and you're always afraid of the people that are ahead, which are the people that are inside that circle, are looking back, and you're thinking of like, you know, obviously I see the reflection of myself, but I acknowledge the fact that there's people behind that mirror, and I'm afraid of what they think of me. So I need to desperately get in there as fast as I can. And I think that's where that kind of that fear is, you know, whether it's from losing face or losing, you know, to this competition, if you call it that, but it's really just being left behind that panopticon, that endless panopticon going inward.
That's a really interesting point. You break that down. I'd never thought of it like that before. But what I think in that example is that you have people looking at that self-policing mirror, concerned about the next people in the nether layer and what they're doing. But if you think about it, those people in that next layer are also looking forward at their mirror. So they don't give a shit what's behind them.
Exactly.
And so
you're always self-policing yourself, and you're always thinking, which is where insecurity comes from, where you're thinking, oh man, what do these people think of me? But that's not the case, because
they don't
those
give
people,
a fuck.
Yeah, they're worried about themselves. They're just like you, worried. So it's this constant paradox, if you will, of, you know, insecurity and just this kind of like, I don't know.
And you'll never find the center in that example. You'll never get to the center, and if that's what your goal is, you'll probably never be happy.
Yeah,
if you're just always chasing it,
there's
no end to it.
Yeah, you'll never get to the center, because for better or for worse, people will never be satisfied.
So it's kind of, this is a little grim, but it's like finding peace in your cell.
Yeah,
because you're stuck in that prison, and that prison is just life. So how are you what are you gonna do with it?
Yeah. So. I mean, to go really dark, but yeah, that is it.
But if you think about it, it's like if it's not worth chasing the rabbit, or chasing the dragon rather, then just acknowledge where you're at and find peace in it, and then live your life from that point. Yeah,
and you know, I think it's just a topic of contentment, like where, like what you're saying, are you satisfied in yourself? Like, is there a problem with being satisfied with where you're at? And if there is, then yeah, you're going to have to move forward. So there's the people that, you know, there's people that are satisfied with where they're at, or they can't be satisfied, so they have to move forward, or they get pushed behind. And I think it's just the fact that, like, I feel like, you know, the whole, what am I trying to say? Within that panopticon, whether you stay in your cell or whether you move forward, it's just all it's all part of that panopticon, which we call life, I guess. And you know, to whether you stay satisfied or you keep moving forward, that's your choice. And there's not really a right or wrong answer. It's just that's all we can do within that panopticon is stay or move.
So those struggles of power.
Yeah.
Just referencing Dr. Richardson again. Like that's all. Yeah, we talked about that a lot.
You know, it's funny. I had a philosophical conversation with Anthony. You know, the guy that followed you. And we were like talking about just stuff. And I started bringing, because this was like the same day or the day after a really deep Richardson talk.
Dude, that shit sticks with you too.
Yeah. And so I was quoting Foucault. I was quoting the systems of representation and all that, denotation, connotation. And at some point, and I caught myself too, at some point, because he was giving me a haircut at the time. And I ended a sentence with, you know, and what have you. And I stopped. Like, I literally stopped, and I looked myself in the mirror, and I literally just stopped that whole flow of conversation. I said, shit, I need to stop myself. And he's like, what's up? I was like, I sound just like my professor. Give me a second. And I took a second to just kind of sit in, like, did I really just say that? And I just kept going. I was going to put it in the chat, but I forgot. But oh my God. Like, for better or for worse, I don't know. But it's funny what the effects of like influential people have on you.
And just smart people in general. Like, listen to smart people. Don't take their word as law, but like just be open-minded and listen to them. I think closed-minded people are the dumb people. Not saying that intellectually they're dumb, but if that's what they decide to do, that's a very dumb choice of you. Listen to smart people and actually listen to dumb people too, because you might learn something.
Yeah, it's just seeing how they live their life.
Yeah. Well, fuck, we've covered a lot of topics.
Yeah, we
have. So I think this might be a good jumping off point because we're talking about life and how we're looking at it.
Yeah.
And what we're gonna do with it. So, do you have any closing remarks on the little plugs? Anything you want to get out there?
Chuck and I will be graduating, hopefully in May. Well, you only have one class technically.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll see what happens with this internship drama. But if they make me stay another semester, it won't be a good time. Because if I technically don't finish that internship,
the hours you mean?
Well, the hours I'm fine with. It's those papers, and I just submitted all of them.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, but okay, just for the sake of it, yes. Like I will be graduating together. We'll be good to go.
Yeah. So we got graduation in May. I honestly don't have because everyone always asks me, and this is a little bit of tangent. I always get asked like, what are you gonna do after college? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like I don't know, which I should know, but
I have no idea.
And like. And every time my mom asks me that, I'm thankful that she doesn't ask me lately. But like, she always like goes on a lecture like, "Oh, Rilee, you need to know like what do you want to do? You know, you have this camera stuff, you have all this money they invested, the time they invested, and it's just so much more pressure added." And that's like the same argument, like, you know, there's a rush to go to this thing, which is, you know, some cases rightfully, you know, so. But anyways, I think I still want to pursue public speaking as a side thing. I haven't done it lately because of school, but I want to do that.
Does this kind of count like on your list of like things? Because I know we talked and you were just like, oh, I'm just interested in like, I just want to see how your podcast is done.
Yeah.
And you were concerned. You're like, well, I don't want to come onto the deep shot because I don't really know that much about sports.
Yeah, I can't keep up.
Yeah. So it's like, is that kind of like in that same realm?
In a sense, yeah. So because I don't know what I want to do corporate wise, I have a lot of ideas for, you know, what I want to do personally. And one of those ideas besides public speaking is opening a blog.
Okay.
And I have like a team already and we've talked about it, but because I'm in school, can't do that much. But essentially what the blog will be is just kind of like having a conversation about just exactly what we're talking about, but really maybe a little bit more focused on like an industry, on someone's story of how they're like maybe abused or something, or maybe like on how they became an artist. And that's essentially just appreciating the story. And, you know, it'll be called Sanctuary. And I don't know if I ran that idea with
I don't think we've talked about it.
I don't mind saying it right now. And if someone from this podcast steals the idea, that's my fault. But it's
no, because you have record. You're saying it on record, on recorded record that you've.
This is my idea. This is my idea. I don't have the trademark yet, but it's my idea. But it's Sanctuary. It's a play between sanctuary and story. And it's essentially, I coined the word. It's essentially, you know, when you listen to someone's story or when you like kind of learn about someone's story, you find sanctuary in that story. And the reason why I came up with that is because for me, when I was depressed and, you know, really dark stuff, one of the things that got me back up is to kind of learn about the stories of those around me and kind of to take sanctuary in that. So that's essentially what I want that blog to kind of encourage, is to, like what we were talking about, just be aware of the perspectives of people around you and almost to appreciate the fact that there's, you know, whether it's a good perspective or bad perspective, that, you know, people have different perspectives.
Right.
So that's really rough blurb of what the blog would be, but that's why I want to learn more about podcasts, because I feel like, you know, being able to stream or to record the like the Joe Rogan show, I think that's essential. But I'll also have written posts on that. But that's my very personal, that's like my unicorn project that I want to pursue. Whether it's successful or not, I just want to do that because it's a way for me to not only do what I want to do, which is meet new people and explore new things, but also to kind of practice what I've learned in Wazoo Everett, you know, being a journalist, being my own journalist. So there's that.
So how was your first experience on a podcast? This is the first podcast you've done, right? Or have you done
Technically,
one before?
no.
Okay.
Technically, no. But this is like the first time that I've like been aware of how everything works. So this is actually the most comfortable I've been in a podcast.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah.
So I've done podcast recordings for my internship, doing the stories, and they always tell me to be more conversational, which is hard because it's like recorded, and I have to do like kind of a brand journalism piece which is already hard by itself to sound conversational. I've done like a Twitch podcast on my buddies. Twitch.
Nice.
So there's that too, and I feel like there's one more. But this is an actual podcast. Like I feel like this is like the first like time where I'm comfortable. I know how everything works and all that. Yeah. So that I'm appreciative for. So thanks.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. We'll definitely have you on at some point again. I know I said like at the beginning or even before we started recording, I can't remember.
Yeah.
That this is just the Chuck Sway show has been happening when it's been happening.
Yeah.
So when someone comes around and express interest, it's like, all right, let's get you on the schedule. So I haven't been that, and this is for the listeners who have been listening, for, I think this will be the 18th episode, 16th, 17th, where they're just like, there's no consistency. So that's on me. I'll address the audience right now. Like I haven't been very proactive with, finding more guests and adding to the show, but I can use, thankfully that you gave your excuse, because I have the same one, like with school right now. This is kind of like on the side thing, but it's like my unicorn idea of like, once get into the workforce, get a job, start getting paid, like this will hopefully ramp up a bit. So
and I'm for sure going to take advantage of you to get me into the podcast. If I have to pay you, whatever, I'll do. But I just need to learn more about this, because for my blog I want it written and audio.
Well, I want to do a quick shout out to Tanner Mills, who's been on the show before, because he actually has helped me a lot with some troubleshooting. So I can't take all the credit that I've figured. Thanks, Tanner. I can't take all the credit that I figured this out all by myself. I have had people that have helped me. Tanner's one of them. So,
but at least you're self-proficient now.
Yeah. So I got to give credit where credit's due. Riley, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks.
It's been a pleasure.
I will see you Monday.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Bye.